What's good? This is Josh Jones, ESQ, also known as the Dope Black Lawyer, for this week's edition of Law and Hip Hop Thursdays at 3. Um, this is the number one place where you're going to be able to get law and hip hop related information. We're going to be here every week telling you what's going on with the culture, for the culture, and breaking down the stories that affect Black people, hip hop culture, and trying to make sure that we can help people with legal issues if they ever have them. So, if this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Let us know in the chat where you're watching from. Rep your city. As you know, as always, I'm live from the 305 Miami-Dade County, and yeah, this is Dope Black Lawyer. So, Dope Black Lawyer is a platform that we use to be able to educate people about what's going on with using legal content that's in the news. We also are here to connect people with dope Black lawyers when they need help with representation. So, if you ever have a legal issue, this is the number one place to come and get information. So I don't want to hold you too long today. We got a lot going on. So one of the first things we want to talk about, everybody knows Migos rapper Takeoff was murdered earlier this year in Houston, Texas, and recently they arrested DJ Patrick Clark. He was accused of shooting Takeoff. They believe they have the evidence that he was indicted. So everybody, if you remember, he was at a private event and the news just broke that Takeoff was killed. There was speculation that it was another gentleman who ended up not being charged, but we just want to make sure that people are actually getting the right information. So, and this is why you need a dope Black lawyer. So it was also reported that um, that the killer had been actually convicted and had received life behind bars. So I don't know. Sometimes I think people do this just for the attention, having people to kind of go to their page and you know get the information just to get the clicks. But it was reported wrongly by this platform in the streets TV. Takeoff's killer Patrick Clark gets indicted and faces life behind bars. But here it says Takeoff's killer gets life behind bars, which is not true as of now. As you know, everyone who's charged is presumed innocent until proven otherwise. So, they got this kind of a clickbait link here, and there's not much more to it. But I just wanted to kind of clarify he was not convicted yet. He's only been charged. So we'll be following the story as more information comes out about the trial for DJ Pat in Houston related to Takeoff's murder. So RIP to the family, and also related to Takeoff. And this is something we actually talked about a little bit last week. But Takeoff did not have a will. Takeoff did not have a trust. Takeoff's mother and father are now fighting over his $26 million estate. Um, it's reported that his father was not involved in his life very much, but now that he's passed on, he has a claim to Takeoff's estate as his father. So it's so important that you make sure that you have whatever you need in place to take care of um, the people who you love after you pass on. Make sure that your um, estate is passed on to the people who you want it passed on to. I can't speak for certain, but you know, I would imagine that the people who were in your life and were there for you are the people who you would want to be able to reap the benefits of whatever legacy that you have. So it's important that you speak with someone who can help you to get that put into place. Whatever you need, a will or a trust. Like I said last week, there's an argument that everybody can benefit more from a trust than a will, but we'll talk about that more at a future time. So recently, he's become, talk of the town. Even casual boxing fans came to know about Gervonta Tank Davis. About a month or so ago, he was victorious in a fight against Ryan Garcia, who at the time was another um, undefeated fighter. Ryan Davis had a big following on social media, so it created a big fight in Las Vegas. Well, right after that fight, we talked about the fact that Gervonta Davis was going to be on house arrest because he had been in a crash where he injured some people, and the judge ordered him to 90 days house arrest. Well, the judge was upset that he was not doing the house arrest she where she believed. So he was supposed to be with his trainer, but instead he was in a luxury hotel. So he didn't get approval from the judge. He claims that he thought he did have approval for the judge. He says the judge is crazy. But at the end of the day, the judge ordered him to complete the rest of his 90-day sentence in jail. So Tank right now has gone from being with his trainer to being in a luxury condo at the Four Seasons in Baltimore, and now to jail. So his accommodations uh, are nowhere near as nice as what they could have been if he would have gone through the process to get everything approved by the judge. So 90 days is not that much time, but you know, it just goes to show you that you got to do everything in order. Make sure that you follow the advice of your lawyer, do what you got to do to be able to, get what you want. I mean, they already had given him a pretty sweet deal, but you know, he ended up not doing what he needed to do. And then now he's reporting that his Florida mansion was broken into over the last day or so, and that his cars and some of his boxing memorabilia and different things have been taken, vandalized, and things of that nature. So there may be a legal issue there for the people who broke into his home if that's ever substantiated, and we are able to find out who that was, and we'll keep an eye on what's going on with Tank. Wish Tank the best, and look forward to seeing him back in the ring because that's where he's his best, and that's what we actually know him for. So we want to make sure that the best of us are doing the things that we're best at doing. So his gift is boxing, and can't wait to see him back in a boxing ring. So one of the top rappers right now, Young Boy Never Broke Again, NBA Young Boy. He's being sued. Um, there was a concert. It was in St. Louis, and a woman said she was thrown from the stage at the concert. She says she had a concussion. She hurt her back, her neck, her ankle, and has other mental anguish and pain associated with the event. Um, the lawsuit, we've talked about lawsuits involving assaults, batteries, and and um, people being stomped from the crowd and at concerts. We talked about all these types of different things where people are suing. Well, um, in this lawsuit, we don't have a copy of it, but I was able to read that there are at least three other instances where other fans had altercations with NBA YoungBoy, and they claim he has a history of fighting fans. He's currently been on house arrest for years, serving it out in Salt Lake City, Utah, of all places. And so in this time, he's been releasing a lot of music, but he's also been in the news for stuff like this. Along with NBA YoungBoy, like I told you, they're always going to look for the money. So anywhere where there could be deep pockets, they're going to sue. So they're suing the venue, they're suing the concert promoter, as well as a security company for not providing a safe place for people to enjoy the concert. Um, Another story involving a woman. Her name is Ajike Owens, out of Ocala, Florida, which is a small little country town, podunk town. She was murdered by that woman who you see, a 58-year-old woman whose name until recently they had not really disclosed, but this woman was arrested for manslaughter for shooting AJ Owens. So the story, if you haven't heard about it, involved this woman getting into an incident with AJ Owens' kids in a field. She ended up running the kids off from, I guess it was her property. She's claiming it was her property. And the kids left behind an iPad. It's also been reported that she hit one of the kids, at least one of the kids, with a skate. So AJ went to the woman's home, who she was familiar with. They were neighbors, to find out what was going on in this incident. And this woman shot through the door, um, fatally striking AJ Owens. So the woman's name, her last name is Lawrence, Lorincz. I don't know why they're making it hard to get information about this woman. But let's see what her name is, her full name, so we can expose her and talk about her as she should be. Susan Louise Lorinx, Lorincz. So she went with the police. She told them what happened. They released her, and then it took 4 days before they actually brought charges against her for this incident. Dope Black Lawyer, we talked about a few times on the show. This is episode 14, so we've been coming strong for 14 weeks now. So that's crazy in itself. But we talked about Ben Crump quite a few times. He's a lawyer that is called upon a lot of times in these cases that involve racially motivated shootings, and he is now representing the family of AJ Owens. And he says, if the roles were reversed and you have a black woman shoot a white woman through a locked metal door, nobody would be saying it's a difficult case. It's a simple case. The only question is, are we going to give AJ the same respect, the same dignity? So that's a valid point. Reverend Al Sharpton will deliver the eulogy for AJ's service. Authorities say that Owens was shot through the door of her neighbor's home. When they demanded that the killer be arrested and charged, they also accused Lawrence of yelling racial slurs at the children prior to the shooting. So this woman was interviewed. She claimed that she acted in self-defense and that Owens had been trying to break down her door prior to her discharging her firearm. It sounds like she may try to use a stand your ground defense here, which seems like it will be tough, being that her door was closed and it was locked, and there was no way that AJ could have even gotten in, even if she was attempting to. I haven't heard anything about any video. Hopefully there's some type of doorbell camera or whatever, but there were witnesses, and the witnesses are saying that the shooter engaged with the children and threw a pair of skates. So I don't know. So they're demanding justice for the family. It's sad. The 9-year-old feels remorse, as if it could be his fault for reporting it to the mother. Obviously, any mother would want to assist their child in a situation like this. The family does have a GoFundMe. They've raised about $260,000, and their goal is $1 million. Hopefully, people can pitch in and they can get to that goal. We saw recently the killer of the man in New York City on the subways had raised over $2 million for his defense. So I'm hoping that we can rally around and help this family raise at least $1 million that they're going to need to, take care of these kids, their education, and their upbringing. Very sad situation here. But it also makes me think there's been so many other situations recently. Also in Florida, a 60-year-old man was charged with aggravated assault for pointing a gun at a woman's head when they were trying to back up a vehicle in his driveway. So you got that. You got another story talking about the Uber Eats driver who got lost and was doing the same thing, trying to back out of somebody's yard and got shot at. You got the little boy out in the Midwest who the old 84-year-old white man shot at when he was lost looking for his little brother and sister. I mean, there's so many instances of these shootings that are taking place. There is a convenience store owner who was arrested for murdering a 14-year-old who he was accusing of trying to steal and proven that the child was not stealing, and that he was actually running away when he was shot in the back. This was over in South Carolina. So, I mean, it's only going to get worse. Like we've talked about in Florida, starting July 1st, people will be able to carry concealed guns without a permit due to the new law that was signed by the governor. So there won't be a need for background checks or training. Um, so people are looking to do. They're looking to add the same law in other states, and millions of guns are going to be on the street. And when people get guns, they get courage. So I encourage everybody to kind of remain vigilant. Get your firearms if you feel like you need them. Be trained on how to use them. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. So um, these stories keep happening. I mean, I don't know when it's going to be enough, but just make sure that you're ready. So right now, that's what's happening in Ocala. We'll be following this story also, as it's a Florida story as well. So we'll definitely be following that as it progresses. We spent a lot of time in Florida and a lot of time in New York. I guess those are two of the bigger states. So there's always something happening. But the New York City Department of Correction has stopped notifying the media about the deaths of incarcerated people, which should give us all pause. Um, you know, they had a death recently. They didn't alert people, and there's real time surveillance video that they stopped. So all of this is to kind of not allow for us to know what's actually going on inside of these prisons, and to hopefully, I guess, make people, by not knowing, people won't be able to have any type of voice for change if needed. But that's something that's going on. I could only imagine that other places are going to want to do that too, because there's a lot of crazy things that happen in prisons. People die, people get stabbed, people get raped, all types of stuff. But hopefully there will be some type of action for this. We'll be able to keep the media informed about what's going on so that we can be informed. It's important that we know Black folks especially are disproportionately arrested or disproportionately convicted of crime. So anything like this that happens in a jail affects us more than it affects other people. So we need to make sure that we know about these things and that we advocate for our people. Another story we were talking about last week, Travis Rudolph, who played shortly in the NFL, who was a star receiver for Florida State University, was on trial for murdering. Murder was the major charge, murdering a man who came to his home with three other men, and he claimed it was self-defense, and the jury agreed with him. They just found him not guilty of the crimes that he was accused of, and now he's looking to resume his football career, get on with his life. But essentially, we talked about it, his ex-girlfriend, I guess at the time it was his girlfriend, and he got into an argument. She got upset. She actually is on the video footage that we got from his Ring doorbell. We can see her hitting him, but she told her family members that he hit her, and they showed up and confronted him. He said he was getting assaulted along with his brother. He said he saw guns and went and got his, and he started shooting at the car that the gentlemen were in until he felt like he was no longer in danger. And he shot one man and killed another, but he was found not guilty. Very sad situation all around. Hopefully everybody who's still here will be able to get their life back on track and heal from this incident. It's very sad, unfortunate incident for everybody involved, but a lot of people are calling for the ex-girlfriend, Dominique Jones, to be charged with a crime. A lot of people see her as the person who more or less put all of this into motion. So let me know what you think. We read a lot of comments last week and people was like going in on her. So we'll see what happens. And then another rapper, we've been talking about how rappers' lyrics are being used against them in court, and how that doesn't happen in other art forms. But YNW Melly is about to be on trial as well for the murder of two other rappers who were thought to be his friends at the time. Um, Also, in the situation, the judge is going to follow a new law that allows juries to recommend a death sentence with an 8-4 vote as opposed to a unanimous vote. Um, so he's facing the death penalty for these crimes. This happened way back in 2018, so it's been a while. But Melly's best friend showed up to a hospital saying his friends were shot in a drive-by. When the cops went to the scene, there was no proof of the shooting. Surveillance video showed that Melly and all the men were together in a car, and it was clear to the detectives that the men were shot in the car, not shot at. So they arrested Melly way back at that time, and now he's going to be facing these charges. So we'll stay tuned with that as well. Another young rapper who it looks like probably is not going to be successful in that trial and is going to, it may literally lose his life as a result. So I'm personally not for the death penalty being used, but that is what he's facing. So tell me what you think. Are there any stories that we didn't talk about this week that you're interested in? If so, leave a comment on the video, and we'll look into those stories and we'll talk about those moving forward. We are here to provide information for the people, so we're going to make the show a show for what the people want, not for what I want. So I'm looking for the comments in the chat. Leave them. If you have any questions, you can leave an audio message at speakpipe.com/dope black lawyer, or send an email to holla@dopebblacklawyer.com, or you can send us DM on any social media platform at dope black lawyer. So if you need a dope black lawyer, let us know. We can help you with that as well. We have an international database. We have lawyers all across the world who are ready, willing, and able to help you with whatever legal issues you may have. If you want to get a will or a trust, reach out to us. I don't want people to be out here and for their families not to be prepared for unfortunate incidents that could take place. So if you need that, let me know. I don't do that personally. We help people with injuries and death cases when things happen, but we can connect you with any lawyer that you need. So remember, if you get hurt or the police pull you over, holla at your boy, Dope Black Lawyer Josh Jones ESQ. And with that being said, we will see you next week on Thursday at 3.